This is Already Gone, a Laura Frost suspense thriller, Book 1, by Blake Pierce, narrated by Katie Silverthorne.
Chapter 1. Laura tensed her fingers around the grip of her gun, trying to make sure it wasn't going to slip out of her sweaty hands. She was only one of many agents and cops surrounding the farmhouse, but that didn't mean she could let her guard down. She had to be ready. Around them, a field of overgrown wheat whispered softly in the wind, the only sound that broke the silence of the loose circle of men and women. Each of them was focused on the farmhouse, the peeling paint on the doors, the smashed and boarded-up windows, the hole in the roof. A couple of crows wheeled lazily overhead. Laura tensed her hand again, loosening and then tightening her fingers to ensure her grip. She glanced to her side, where her partner was watching on with grim silence, his eyes trained on the special agent in charge. Most of the agents were also turning their eyes that way, waiting for the go-ahead. The silence from inside the house was eerie. Biting her lip, Laura tucked a loose strand of her blonde hair behind her ear as it threatened to stir in the breeze. She felt like there were ants crawling under her skin. The anticipation was almost too much. There was so much at stake. If they didn't do this right, the man who had kidnapped the governor's daughter would have time to do some serious damage. She was glad she didn't have the responsibility of being the one to decide when and how to storm the building. But at the same time, she itched at the lack of control. She had been on dozens of raids over her career, but never where a child's life hung in the balance like this. "The longer we wait, the more risk he sees us," Nate hissed under his breath, only audible to her. Laura nodded almost imperceptibly. The kidnapper was almost certainly armed. How long were they going to give him before they went in? Nate shifted restlessly beside her, and she glanced up at him instinctively. Nathaniel Lavoie, her partner of several years at the FBI, was not good at operations that required secrecy. His 6'2" frame stood out in the average crowd, towering over her. She stood level with his shoulders, which were currently tense and corded, his muscles all flexed in readiness. A bead of sweat stood out here and there on his black skin, but he was all focus, his sharp brown eyes fixed on the house. That put her at ease, knowing he was just as alert as she was. Laura took a deep breath to try to steady herself, concentrating on watching for a hand signal. When she looked back at the special agent in charge, a flare of alarm went through her. He was holding a megaphone. No, surely this wasn't right. There weren't enough agents on the ground yet. They were still waiting for backup. If they had to go in, Laura thought the better option